Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 2 of the Ruta del Sol. 150 kilometers, multiple climbs throughout today's stage, and it's going to finish up a 600-meter climb to the finish with cobblestones, nasty steep, 11% average, but this cobblestone section's got to be about 15% because the riders are going to have massive difficulties going from the right turn all the way up to the finish. Now when the racing begins, they're really delayed. We're at about 45 kilometers for some technical difficulties from the GCN race. The breakaway of 5 riders up the road with 2.5 minutes are represented by one World Tour rider, Lotto Soudal rider, Camille Malecki, then 4 Spaniards, John Barrenechea from Cal Royale, Escatel Escudi, Gatzon Martin, Kern Pharma, Raul Garcia, and it's Diego Sevilla that's up the road representing Ilo Cometa. Now those 5 guys are flying good up the road, but they're not given much time. It's not a stage like yesterday where you see a 15-minute gap. 4 minutes is what I'm being told is the most they had. When the TV cameras come on, it's about 2.5 minutes. And behind it, Sport Vlaanderen team with yesterday's stage winner and now race GC leader, René Herregault. Now, Herregault had a fantastic ride yesterday, and his team is all over the front throughout the stage, and that's why we're not going to see that 15-minute gap. Yesterday, when I told you on the Butterfly Effect, you had multiple reasons why a 15-minute gap's there, and it's all about everybody's scared to do the main work and keep the gap under control. But now today, with a small Pro Tour team like Sport Vlaanderen in the race leader's jersey, you know they're not going to want to give that away. They don't have massive depth, so they can't allow that break maximum time. So they'll ride on the front and protect the general classification lead of Herregault back there from the beginning of the race all the way until about 10 kilometers to go. Now let's go back a little bit because throughout the stage that gap stayed pretty tight there to the breakaway, but with 27 kilometers to go as they're coming down the descent, when you're racing here in the south of Spain, these roads are always slippery and nasty. They get super dry. There's always a little bit of this dust film on the road that's always causes problems for the tires. And then on top of that, when you go further south into Spain, a lot of times the roads just aren't swept well. Now we're going to see the Peloton come down on full force, make a right turn, and what I believe causes the crash is the riders are getting on the brake and then someone's going to lose the front end. It's going to block the whole road and cause multiple riders headaches back there. And it's Miguel Angel Lopez from Astana, that's the big GC favorite, that gets caught up in the crash. Now there's a big chase from all the groups to try to get back up to the front, and Miguel Angel Lopez will attach back up to the front, but it's going to take a little bit of effort, and we don't know how much damage is done to the Astana rider. Now with 10 kilometers to go, we could get to see firsthand how much damage is getting done to race leader, Sport Vlaanderen rider, René Herregault. Now Herregault's having a hard time here. He's at the back with Stefan Bassett, the American rider from yesterday's race. Both riders in the front group yesterday and now having a hard time. Herregault, when I saw this, I couldn't believe it. He looked so fantastic in yesterday's stage with his win and his multiple attacks. And then when you look at how well he rode here last year, I believe he was in the top 15 here last year. And now you look and he's coming off with 10 kilometers to go after his whole Sport Vlaanderen team had done the bulk of the work keeping the brake under control throughout today's stage 2. Now with Herregault getting dropped back there, we see up front new teams are taking over, and it's really Ineos Grenadiers that's up at the front with about 7.5 kilometers to go. They'll do a fabulous job of controlling the front all the way until the climb starts with about 1 kilometer to go. At that marker, when we go under the Flamme Rouge there, Bahrain Victorious has got their guys all at the front, and they're going to launch the first decisive attack on today's stage 2, and it's going to come in the form of Wout Poels. He throws in a big acceleration, and behind it's yesterday's rider on fabulous form, UAE Team Emirates, Alessandro Covi back there, that's pulling Wout Poels back. Covi is doing a phenomenal job. When he catches Wout Poel, he launches his own attack and starts going up the road with less than 600 meters to go. The only guy that can start to bring him back is Miguel Angel Lopez, who crashed earlier with 27 kilometers to go. That clearly didn't have too much effect on his legs because Angel Lopez is driving fast, and then it's Serrano back there from Movistar that'll take over the lead from Miguel Angel Lopez, going up into the final right turn with about 150 meters to go when the climb gets incredibly nasty. Now, they were right on the heels of Covi at this moment, and Serrano into the right turn drifts all the way left and basically just holds up Miguel Angel Lopez as they lock shoulders. They'll separate. Serrano will do a hard ditch to the right to try to keep his bike up. When he does, he's blocking the road from all the other guys like Haig back there trying to accelerate to get something out of today's stage, possibly even bring back Covi. But that move from Serrano will lock everything up for Alessandro Covi, who now gets a clean gap, accelerates on the cobblestones right down the center, perfect position for all the chasers behind trying to bring him back who are hot on his heels. Angel Lopez is forced to going up the left side of the cobblestones, losing time the whole way to the line to Covi, who takes a spectacular stage 2 win here at Ruta del Sol. Now, Angel Lopez will hold on for second. Behind, it's the Movistar rider, Ivan Sosa, that does a great job of getting on the podium. Jack Haig from Bahrain Victorious will hold his team's head up high and finish 4th on today's stage. And behind, the riders are just coming in, gaps all over the place as the general classification is getting separated on today's stage by 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and 5-second gaps throughout the peloton. Now, when we're talking about tomorrow's stage, it isn't going to be like we saw today with 10 kilometers to go when the breakaway got caught. Tomorrow's stage is going to be incredibly hard to predict. The only thing I can predict is it's going to be chaos from the moment the red flag drops at kilometer 0 all the way to the end of the stage, because in the top 10 on today's stage and the general classification top 10, there is a different team throughout every one of those positions. That means tomorrow that breakaways are going to be flying up the road like crazy because there's multiple teams that have something to gain from tomorrow's stage. Because UAE Team Emirates have only come with 5 riders to Ruta del Sol. Race leader Covi, of course, Matteo Trentin, Stockalagan is here, Ardilla is here, and Jan Polanc is here. So that is not a whole lot of force when you're talking about 3 hard stages to come. Each one of these next stages is extremely hilly, but not so steep that most of this peloton cannot pass over these climbs. At 4 and 5%, they're hard climbs, but now it's difficult for a group of 5 like UAE Team Emirates to control 100 bike racers all trying to get up the road and attack them early in the stage. Now, when you look at Astana and we see Angel Lopez, who's the highest real GC guy, sitting 3rd on general classification, only 8 seconds behind his teammate, Alexei Lusenko, who is sitting 32nd, I believe, at just over a minute down on Covi. That rider just got done winning Jaén, the gravel race, a few days back, and he soloed for 45 kilometers in that race. So can you imagine trying to chase a rider like Alexei Lusenko, who's in the break of maybe 15, and you got a team of 5 back there? It is going to be chaos and very complicated decisions to make on tomorrow's stage 3. And UAE Team Emirates are going to have to be fast on every decision they make in tomorrow's race from the beginning all the way to the finish of the stage. They're going to have to look for some kind of partnership with some other team that possibly missed the break, but I think it's going to be a big break up the road. It's not going to be just Pro Tour teams. There's going to be tons of World Tour teams in there. Their director for UAE Team Emirates is going to have to quickly figure out what the advantage is that he can make of a team that possibly missed that break and start talking with his director and get a little combine going so his UAE Team Emirates riders can have some help controlling the field for Covi. Now, Covi, he's got fabulous form to my belief. I mean, it's disbelief, that is. I didn't expect him to be this good. What he did today was absolutely fantastic. That long attack of chasing down Wout Poels and then holding everyone off to the line. He's clearly on great form. But with only 4 teammates, it's going to be a fun next 3 days of racing in here, Ruta del Sol. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next edition of the Butterfly Effect.